There was a period, sometime in 2007, where the big three cartoon channels were in a bit of a slump, and most people within our generation were getting fairly disillusioned with the programming, even if I actually liked a bunch of those shows from that time. However, in 2010, seeing debut Adventure Time, as well as a few other shows, eventually, that really helped energize the three channels. There was a lot of new content that appealed to all ages, lore-heavy shows, wacky comedies, or full-on overarching stories. Not only that, DC Nation debuted in 2012 with a lot of great action cartoons and shorts that are capitalizing off of our interest in seeing that sort of program. It also had comedies like Teen Titans Go, and that was fine, as it's a nice balance. But the success of Teen Titans Go was a double-edged sword, and years later we now have ThunderCats Roar. But here's my hot take. The show by itself isn't really that big of a problem. The art style especially really doesn't matter that much, even if the main character looks like a baby. In fact, complaining about the art style really dilutes the conversation and misses what I feel is the major point about the issue. So what do I think is the issue? Let me go back a bit. Most of us would agree that DC Nation is gone too soon, but it's not just DC Nation. Action cartoons in general are in massively short supply, and because of that, it is especially frustrating to see a stream of reboots that are decidedly taking action-packed shows and turning them into more comedy-oriented series. Just look at the ones done so far. Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff Girls, Ben 10, ThunderCats. All of these are not only usually less action-oriented, partially due to the nature of the animations and art styles making the scenes more difficult, but decidedly more aimed at children. On top of that, they are much more willing to give major time slots to their kids shows than to ones with broader appeal and heavier themes, like Steven Universe and Adventure Time. Not only that, this emphasis on reboots also means that much less original programming is on the channel, which is compounded by things like Cloudy the Chance of Meatballs. And here's the part where I finally address the art styles. Woohoo! How samey they all look is, in my opinion, really overblown. But there are some traits that do make them seem really similar to each other in certain circumstances. I know I've said that the new Ben 10 looks like a cross between the new Powerpuff Girls and Gravity Falls. But focusing on the art style and complaining about color arts is a little bit silly and does nothing but make the wider criticisms less valid, because you're more or less complaining about the most minor part of the situation. Either way, all of this comes together to form what I feel the real issue is: a shift from diverse, original programming aimed at all ages to more similar feeling shows based on older properties and aimed at children. Basically, my guess is that they're taking children of people who grew up with these shows. The parents would be seeing them and say, hey, I grew up with something like this, I'm going to make my child watch it. And it seems to work. I mean, Teen Titans Go gets great ratings. It can't be denied that it gets great ratings. So CN wants to focus on that. And is that a problem? To be completely fair, not really. If CN wants to focus on kid-friendly comedies, there really isn't anything wrong with that. None of these shows are really a problem on their own, and some of them are actually fine. I've seen the new Ben 10 and it does seem fine. It's not like it's terrible. It's just a shame to see that a channel that used to be at the forefront of much more interesting, diverse cartoons aimed at everyone, basically it sort of jump-started the idea of cartoons that are not just for children anymore, and it's much more hip for people in their 20s and in their 30s to be interested in animation. And it's just a shame to see that they're going back from that and just going back to their much smaller scope that they used to have. So yeah, can't wait for Infinity Train to get one time slot every 2 weeks.